Good morning, everybody. Are you ready for some ideas? I'm ready to share them with you and to have some fun. I hope when you come in, you'll say hello and tell me where you're from. I love knowing where everybody is. Hi, Kim. So I hope you have your beverage of choice and ready to settle back and see some ideas. I decided to do some playing today, and what I decided to do was to take, hey, Renee, 3 different sketches, but use the same stamp set and paper and make cards. So I've got 3 sketches done, and I will be sharing them with you. And hey, Carol, you're in Connecticut. Good for you. Hey, Sharon. Sharon's down in Texas, so I've got them from one end of the country to the other. Yay. I thought it would be fun to show you some ideas on how to use a sketch to create your cards. I know that everybody, you struggle sometimes, but it's one of those things. You just have to, I had to get rid of my thing, and so now all my things disappeared. Whoa, Kim, Diet Dr. Pepsi, she's in Utah, so it's early there. Hey, Janice. So I thought I would share some ideas. Now, if you have some crafty friends, make sure you share the video with them. I would so appreciate it. I also wanted to let you guys know that I appreciate all your commenting that you have been doing on my posts. It is working. I checked my stats and my numbers have gone up. So that's great. Thank you so much. I just love sharing my ideas with others, and it would be great if you shared this video and make lots of comments, give me hearts, thumbs up, so that I can get my page out there more to others. I'm trying to grow my audience. I love doing them, and I know a lot of people watch it after because timing isn't great for everybody. I think it's probably the middle of the night in Australia there. And I don't know, Renee would know, she's in Australia. What time is it there, Renee? England might be early morning. I'm not positive, or no, maybe it's the afternoon there. So, anybody can get on. It just depends on, what time it is. But I know that it is kind of late in Australia. It may not be middle of the night. It may be close to it, though. So I hope everybody's had a great week. I'm looking forward to the weekend. Not doing anything particular. Yeah, see, it's the middle of the night, 12:32 a.m. Sunday. Okay. So I appreciate your being here, Renee. I know that, I'm up late at night too. And then up early in the morning. I get on here sometimes and talk to my friend in Australia, Vicky, and it's, afternoon, evening there, and it's early morning. I wake up at 5, can't go back to sleep. I get on the internet. Don't we all? So I pulled out a set I had not used. Yeah, so they're middle of the afternoon. Thanks, Kim. I pulled out a set I hadn't used in a while, and I haven't seen it around, but you know what? It's a great set. It's Dragonfly Garden, and I'm actually going to use the dragonfly and this image over here on my cards. So be looking for that. I am doing the dragonfly on 2 cards, and I'm trying to think. I know how I'm coloring the one. I may be coloring the other one the same way. I don't know. I was just looking at my supplies. I've got them all laid out over here so that I'm ready. I do too, Kim, and I think it's a set that we overlook. Hey, Carol. So that's the reason why I have that one pulled. And then it doesn't have paper to go with it, but I thought the Rustic Harvest paper would be perfect for it. So I'm going to use that, and I'll share some of the paper from that. I've used quite a bit of it, and I'm using up more and more. It's only around until January 1st, it goes away. So I love getting ideas to show you how to use the paper that you've got. The stuff in the catalog is going to be here for a year. So, and actually in January, the new catalog will be coming out. So we'll have all new pretty things to play with. So let me get one more sip. If you don't have your beverage, you got a few minutes, go pick it up and come back real quick and we'll get started. I always move it away from my area because I turned water over once on a project. Not good. All right, let me pull over my phone and it should be set up perfectly, but who knows? We'll find out. I'm going to spotlight it. Okay. Oh, it's off a little. That's better. All right. Oops, wrong way. There. Okay. I like this better because I'm not moving it around. So as I said, I'm using this image and I think I picked this dragonfly. I don't know because I have a hard time telling between the two. So we'll find out which one I have and go from there. And then this is the paper. I'll be honest with you. The paper that caught my eye when this came out was this piece here. And this is all that I have left. So it's like 8 inches by 12 inches. This is all that I have left of big pieces other than a scrap. So, but this is the one that caught my eye in the catalog. But there are other great images in there. There's this beautiful crushed curry paper, and the back of it has these acorns. This is a black and white. It says early espresso, but I put some of this with early espresso and it didn't match real well. So, but this is this, and there's a bigger picture of that one. There's this piece, and if I have bigger pieces, I'll pull them out. There's this one. And the back of this is this. Now, this is one I did put with black, and I think it looks better with espresso. So I think that's the color there. There's this one, which is this. And there's the back of that. The backs are all black and whites, which I love. I use my black and white paper all the time. This is the back of that paper that caught my eye. See what else is in here. Oh, here's this one. We haven't looked at this one. This one has leaves on it, and this is Cajun Craze. So you have some options there. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see. I did that one. I think I may have gotten them all. What's that? Nope. This piece. Here it is. This one, which is pumpkins. So if you have a pumpkin stamp, this would be good for it, and stripes. I did not buy the stamp set that goes with this. I didn't particularly like the stamp set. So a lot of times I will buy the paper and then look at what I have to see what would go with it, because we don't all need to be buying complete suites. I have a ton of stamps just like you do. So I would really like to use what I have. All right, so here's my sketch for the first one. Now, I've made these really big so you can see it. This is a background layer, then there's an oval and an image in here. And I did modify mine because we no longer have ovals. So I got to move this because I totally forgot I'm embossing. So the first thing I wanted to do was to create my background. And I didn't have brick paper, but I thought this, thanks, Kim. I agree. I cut a piece of, and let's see, is this the right size or is that the piece? Yeah, I cut a piece of white that I think is 4 by 5 1/4. Yeah, 4 by 5 1/4. I'm in the US, so that's the colors I use. And I'm going to take and I'm going to emboss this with the brick folder. All right. And when you emboss with this, you have to think about your pattern, how you're going to put your paper on your card. Because if you put your paper in this way, your bricks are going to go side to side the short way. It's probably hard to see. I don't know if I can get it in there any better. So I know I'm doing mine in landscape. So I'm going to put my paper in this way. And I love the fact that Stampin' Up! Has put a line there, making it so easy to emboss straight. This one would look kind of funny if it was crooked. So I'm going to take and emboss this with this folder. It'll take me a few minutes to do it. Right. So now I have my panel embossed. And I'll be honest with you, I thought about this and I thought, I don't know if this is going to work color-wise. So I decided to highlight the brick. Now what I'm doing is I'm pulling in a Stampin' Spot. Now if you have a full-size one, you can use that. So I'm going to take my Stampin' Spot, and the key here is to use the corner of the pad and go very lightly across it. And I think I usually use my full-size pad, and I think I like it better. This one has it's a linen pad in here, and the others are foam, but that's my background. All right. And I'm going to put that on a black card. So that's a way to highlight them. But again, if you're going to highlight it, I thought I would try this to see. I suggest using the full pad because you won't get these lines. And you can, if you do it, oh, thanks, Janice. If you do it with a light hand, then you're in good shape. I gotta find my yucky scissors here. I always put my embossed images on with double-sided tape. Reason being, if you, when you emboss something, you get hills, you get valleys and plateaus, and I call them plateaus because they're flat. And if you have glue, the glue will fall down into the valley. So the only part that has glue is the plateau. And if you look at this, most of this is thin lines. So if you put glue on here, you run the risk of it not sticking. So I always use the double-sided tape. I just find it easier to do. And I'm going to show you a trick. I'm going to stop right there. I just have to be careful with that one. If some of you struggle with getting your panels on straight, here's a tip for you. I didn't burnish that real good, so I'm going to do it there. Take your double-sided tape. Now this works great if you have double-sided tape. All right. Pick it up and fold it back on the edges. And I'm going to use this corner. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this down, but I'm going to hold it up. And I'm going to look at this corner, okay? Because that corner and that corner have this corner and this corner. Well, doesn't matter. This one has no tape on it at all. So I'm going to take that corner as my cue, and I'm going to get it lined up. And when I get lined up, I'm going to push that corner down. All right. I'm going to go all the way across because I took that piece off. Then you hold it in place, pull out your strips, and you have your background on with a perfect edge all the way around. All right, so we've got our background on. The next thing we need is, excuse me, is our oval. We don't have ovals anymore. So I'm going to take, I think this is the basic shapes and this is the hexagon. And I decided to cut it out of this pattern. So let me do that. And let's see, I want to make sure it's straight again. And this one was easy because it's got dots going across it. I'll show you what I did. Right. Okay. What I did was I took this point and this point and put it where the dot was so that it cut it straight. There. So now we have a straight tip. Thanks, Carol. I love giving tips to people. We all struggle, so you might not just as well. All right, now, this is kind of lost. So I'm going to take, and rather than add another layer, I'm going to sponge the edge. So I'm going to take my Memento pad and I've got a sponge dauber and I'm just going to give it a real faint edge. Now, when you do this, you want to hold your paper and your dauber so they're like on top of each other. I don't know how to say it. It's got to be parallel to the edge, because if you don't, and I'll show you what'll happen in just a minute. And this way I get a nice, small, soft edge. If you hold this, and I'll do it down here so you can see, if you hold this way and flick it, you get, let me see, I don't know if you can see it, but it's thicker. Where's my white? I can do it better. There's a piece of white. Here's one. This is what I got when I did it, and my thing's falling apart. This is what you get if you do it the other way. So it just depends. This is going in the trash because it's falling apart, and I'm going to get rid of it off my card before I make a mess. After a while, they just kind of disintegrate. All right, so this way, I don't have to pop this up because I don't want to. I want to keep it flat like so. And you can still see it because it's got a fine outline around it. So I'm going to take and add this to my card base. That takes care of this image here. Now you can use ovals if you have the ovals. I still have mine. I was so sad that the new ones didn't have an oval in it because I do like the oval, but I do like the hexagons too. All right, so I'm just adding some more tear and tape, double-sided tape to the back, and grab my pokey tool, which is over here, burnish my ends, and I'm going to take this off, all 3 layers, and I'm taking this all the way off. There's no way to do this. The bigger panels is what works the other way. Now, when you put this on, watch your shape. All right, so I'm going to put that on right there like so. All right, so we've got our card base, but we have to address this image here. That's where the dragonfly comes in. So I'm going to pull in, hey, Trudy, a piece of white. Thanks for joining us. We were just chatting about what time it was in England. And everybody from all over and the times that it was. Well, see, I got the black body on that one, not the open body. All right, so I've got that. Now I could put that on there, but it's okay. So I thought, how can I make this a little bit more interesting, I should say. So I've pulled in my watercolor pencils, and I'm using a very light hand with this. This one is Bermuda Bay. And I'm gonna color this like so. And I was going to blend this with the blender pen, but you know what? I think I'm going to blend it. This one is, oh, no, doesn't say. It was one of the first sets that they had out, but I see it as Granny Apple Green. So I'm going to add this in here. All right, so I have some interest. Now you can leave it like that if you want, but if you think about dragonfly wings, they're kind of shiny and sparkly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Wink of Stella and I'm going to blend this. And that's the beauty of Wink of Stella. You can do the same thing with your blender pen, but if you want to sparkle, use your Wink of Stella and it'll give your dragonfly wings a nice sparkle. And I am kind of going over where they overlap. Now I got to clean that because if you don't, if there's any color on it, it will contaminate it. All right, so let me see if I can pull this up and you can see the sparkle. I got to kind of play with it and see if I can catch the light. I'm not able to. Maybe I can see it. It's got to be that way. Well, sorry, I can't get it to show up. But anyway, now I love the fact that this has a punch. I do not have to fussy cut this. And I'll be honest with you, I like using punches in my workshops. All right, there. So I've got my butterfly all punched. And then I'm going to put this on my card with dimensional. And I'm going to go straight down the middle. And if you cut your dimensionals in half, you can stagger the ends and fill in that body. And then you've got a nice base to make sure that your dragonfly is popped up. And that one is empty. All right. So I'm going to put that right in the middle like so. And then got to have some bling. Oh, thanks, Kim. I love that. I did a class a couple of months ago using the watercolor pencils, and it was so much fun. I realized how much I really hadn't used them and missed them. All right, so I'm going to add, let's see. I'm going to add some, I don't know if I like that. Well, it's off. Oh, there it is. I was going to say it went flying across my desk. So let me see if I can. It left the glue dot, but that's okay. I think I'm going to get silver or our rhinestones. I think those would be better. It'll show up more. And I still have some older packages. They no longer package them this way. So I'm using up my older packages. See, there's where that dot is. And it's slipping. Oh, well. See, I even have these connected, which I love for doing down a butterfly's body or you can put them on like that to give some interest, but I'm going to use them singly. I'm going to add one here. And when you add your rhinestones or gems of any kind, only use odd numbers. In nature, things appear in odd numbers. So when you're using your gems or whatever, make sure you use odd numbers. I wonder it won't go. I'm going to move these out of the way so I don't have them there. So there's our first card following that sketch. I'm not happy with the red. It's too dark. So, but there it is. Not every card turns out perfect. All right, so there's sketch one. Sketch two is here. here is sketch 2. Now, these are in, oh, I didn't know about the triangles, Kim. Thanks for telling me. These were done in Canva, and to save my color, I print them out in black and white. All right, so this is the sketch for this one. And this is the one I'm going to use that image on, and I'm going to color it using markers, because you don't always, oh, thanks, Trudy. You don't always have to use I can't think, an ink pad to color, to do your image. An image like this you could do with your ink pad, but it's all one color. Hey, Peggy. All right, and I kept this one fairly simple. There's a background piece, so I chose white. My card base is Mary Merlot. I love this color with this paper. Now this is going to go on like so, but I'm not going to put that on just yet, because this piece is going to go on the bottom. There's a strip across here. It's a lighter gray that I have to put on. So I'm going to use my glue, and I'm going to add my glue like so. Now, I have been watching all the videos that I look, and people that use glue, and all the different ways they add glue to their papers. It's interesting to watch. There's quite a variety of ways to add your glue. Some people put way too much. And if you do too much, depending on what glue you use, now Tombow doesn't do that, but if you do too much, what happens is it'll warp your card, because glue has water in it. And paper and water don't go well, so keep that in mind. All right, I'm trying to put my pen back in. Oh, I've got a little bit more over here than I need. I'm going to cut it real quick. There we go. All right, now this is going to go on, and I'm going to center it. Now, if you struggle with getting it straight, I shouldn't do that. This is the way I do it. What I do with mine, if I'm using the glue, is I look at the top and the bottom and the sides, and I get them as fairly even as I can, and then I stick it down. Until you push down on this, you can move it around a little bit. You got a little bit of wiggle room. All right. This image, or this sketch, has a main focal image. So I chose this paper, and I may have to back it, we'll see. All right, and this is where I'm going to stamp my image. So I'm going to use, I chose Mossy Meadow, and when you color your image with a marker, and I'm going down further than I know I need to go, because I don't know how much is going to show up when I stamp it. You want to use the side of your marker, not your tip. You'll ruin your tip. So use the side of your marker. Now I'm going to use yellow, and I'm just going to color the whole head yellow. I'm not worried about the cone, I guess you could say, on it. Now I picked up some green, so I'm scribbling that out. This one is crushed curry, because I don't want to contaminate my marker. And I'm going to stamp this one in the center, and then I'm going to come down and stamp here and here, so that you have some interest in the background. So that's important if you're doing that. Oh no. Oh, I bet she was sick. No, never use Elmer's glue. It's for school. That's why it's called school glue. Okay, this goes on here. And then I have two pieces of pattern paper. I chose this one for this side because it's smaller, and this one for this side. And I'm going to flip it so that this is here. And this goes on the back of here. But I'm thinking that's lost. and this needs some color behind it. I'm thinking it might need to be the Mossy Meadow. What are your thoughts? Let me see, my Mossy Meadow's over here. This happens when you create. You start with an idea and it's like, ooh, okay, here's, nope, that's, now, I'm going to show you another tip. If you're going to use a piece of paper that's going to be hidden and you're using a shape, cut it out with that. So I'm thinking the green. I think I'm going to go with the green. So now I've got to finagle this. Yeah, it is kind of funny, but oh, the work she put into it. All right, so it's 2 1/4. Let's see. I may have to trim this. We'll see. I think I'm going to have to. I probably should have stuck this down first. Now, what I did do, yeah, I'm going to have to trim the top and the bottom. That's okay. What I did do was I measured it, and normally I would go just 1/8 of an inch larger. This time I went 3/16 because this is 2 1/4. So I went up to like 3 and let's see. Two, 3. Oh, I can't figure it out off of this one. I don't have the right ruler. All right, so let's go. All right, I'm gonna add this on here. And see, nobody will know. Now I'm going to trim that down. Nobody will know that there's no back there. And it's a great way to maximize your stamps. All right, let's get back. Let me get rid of this. I had to find a piece. I have all kinds of pieces in mine. I never throw away my scraps because you never know. All right. All right, I'm going to pop this up. But the first thing I want to do is I want to add these pieces. So I'm going to take some of my glue and I'm going to put it there. And then this is centered. If you look at my sketch, it's centered. And I will share with you a tip that I use when I see a sketch online or even a card layout that I really like, and I cannot figure out, or it has no sizes. What I do is I take and I enlarge the sketch. And when I'm going to do this one upside down just because I can see it better. And I make it so, there we go. This one looks off. It is. Okay. It's going to mess up, but that's okay. I can still use it. I enlarge it so that if it's portrait, the top is 4 1/4, and I do it on my computer, and I make sure the top measures 4 1/4, and then I do the bottom or down the side and make sure it's 5 1/2. That looks a little better. All right, so there's what I have, which is that. Now this is going to go on here like so, but I'm going to put this on with dimensionals. I love my dimensionals. Gotta have them. All right, I'm going to put this one out here. And then after I enlarge it, I can then measure the pieces. So that's how I figure out the sizes that I do. I know a lot of you may see something, catalog or whatever. If you were looking at that catalog on your computer, you can enlarge that shape and get it close. And I'll show you as soon as I finish this one what I mean. All right. Take all my backs off. Okay. And then we're not done. Oh, it's part of the, I was like, what is that? But it's the acorn. All right, now this goes on and it's overlaps slightly. It's not exactly the middle here because we've got this strip down here. And I've got my strip and I've pulled out my sentiment from Sending Smiles, and it says a card to say hello. So I'm going to take and I'm going to stamp it, ink my stamp up, and I'm going to stamp this, and I'm going to try to get it right in the center. Woohoo! Not bad. Close enough for government work. All right. Now, you can put this on straight as a piece, but if you want to add some interest, what you can take and do is cut your end. And then if you're the type of person that wants both ends to match up, I got to flip this over. All right. And then what I'm going to take and do is hold it in place and cut it. And then your ends match. I cannot get it to match perfectly, so that's what I do. I cheat. And again, this is going to go on with dimensionals. Good thing I cut a bunch of these before we started. All right. And then that's the one thing I didn't grab was any bling. This one to me is fall. So I'm just going to kind of put this here. And I think they're over here. I don't know if I'll find them, be able to find them. I'm thinking of using, under this. I'm looking for my brushed metallic enamel dots. I'm playing with that paper, so I have been strewn all over the place and I don't see them. So I'm thinking some brushed enamel dots on here would be pretty because they have a copper that I think would be gorgeous on here. I'm looking around still to see if it's somewhere else, and I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. I wonder what I did with them. Right underneath it here. No, I have put them somewhere. I'm not certain where. Oh, there they are. They were hiding. That's why I couldn't find them. They were underneath the pile of cards. Okay, here's this. And see, I think the copper would be pretty on here. I don't use the copper much, as you can see. So I'm going to add some copper dots. All right. Here's my 3. And then I'm going to add 1 here and 1 here. The other thing, if you're going to add more than 3, you're still using odd numbers, but you want to get the person's eye to go across the card. So start in the top and come down with your gems, and that will help. So there's card 2, but let me go and show you what I was talking about. Suppose this was what I saw online. All right. This is my card base. All right. And it's got, say, an image inside. What you would do is blow this up, then use your ruler and get it to as close as you can to 4 1/4. All right. This side you could then see, and it should be close to 5.5. If it's off by 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch, just add it to your measurements. And then you can go through and measure everything. So that's how I figure out a lot of mine. All right, here's our last image, our last sketch. And I wanted to show you, I dropped all my pieces in my tray back here, so I got to pick them out. Because it has a shape there does not mean you have to use a shape. Thanks, Kim. So let's get this one put together and I'll show you what I mean. All right. So I'm using a white card base. Okay. And I see I've got a little bit on the, so I'm going to put it on the back. Now it's got a center panel, which I chose that beautiful paper that I love, but it needed something. So I'm going to add a piece of cardstock behind it to really make it pop. That's a great way to get the most bang for your buck, so to speak, is to add some cardstock behind it, because it really highlights and just kind of sets it apart. All right, and then this goes on here, but I can't put this on there because there's 3 squares underneath, and it was like, what am I going to do? So I thought, well, I'll use some of that black and white paper. But when I put it down there, it was like, yeah, it's missing. So we're going to mount it on the black. All right. And I'm just going to do all of these at once. All right. And then I can close up my glue. And then I think, is the square? No, the pattern paper is 1 inch and the squares are 1 1/8. I use small measurements for my, when I'm adding layers, because I don't want to take away from my image, but I want to give it a little pop, so to speak. All right. So there's that one. That was on crooked, so I could adjust it. So these are going to go down on the bottom. The best way I have done this, another tip for you, I'm loaded with tips today. Oh, let me clean this off. It's a little yucky on the tip. There we go. Is to take, and I'm not going to put my glue on all of them. All right, I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it on, and I'm going to leave a border. All right. And then what I take and do is I set a ruler. I've got to move my stuff. My ruler's longer. I have a T ruler, and what that does is it has an edge over here that the card sits against, and then I set my panel against it also. And then what I can take and do is I can look, and this one is about 1/8 of an inch from the edge, so I can push down, put my bottom of that, and this way you'll get it straight and it's even. And then we do the same thing with the last one, but it's centered in the middle. So it's centered between these two. So it's about 1/4 of an inch. And it may be off slightly, but nobody's going to notice. A millimeter off. Just make sure it's even. So there's our pieces down. So use a ruler and get it straight. And if you have a grid, you can use your grid to put your ruler on if you don't have a T ruler. All right, now this piece goes on like so, and it's on over top. I probably could have come down a little bit, but that's okay. And again, I'm going to pull in my dimensionals. I know I have a love affair with dimensionals. I am always using them. And I do cut mine in half because a half works just as good as a whole. Plus it extends the use of your supplies. so you can spend more on stamps. I mean, I go through dimensionals like water, so I want to make sure I can use my money wisely. Okay. There's 3, 1, 2, 3. All right. So I've got this. And this, now when you put this down, make sure you put it the right way. All right. I'm going to come down a little bit and you'll see why in a minute. All right. So there's my card, but I still haven't addressed this issue. Well, again, it doesn't have to be a shape. It can be a it doesn't have to be an oval. It can be an image. I couldn't think. Oh, I thought I had smeared that. All right. And again, I'm going to color it. I'm going to color it the same way just because I didn't bring out others. If you Google dragonflies, oh my gosh, the colors of them are unbelievable. We have black and white ones down here. At home, they have this or at home, I say, in Maryland, it's not home anymore. They have this blue-green type look to them. But down here, they're black and white. So I'm going to do this, and then I'll use my Wink of Stella again to give it some color. Oh, nope, that's the wrong one. No, you know what? I'll do it this way. And then I'll do the Wink of Stella on top. So you can see the two differences. I will put Wink on top of this to give it some sparkle. I love adding Wink to things. And some tips on using your watercolor pencils. They're the same thing as regular pencils. You don't want a sharp tip. This is almost too sharp. You want it dull, and you don't want to use a heavy hand. So in other words, if you're coloring, what you're going to do is you're going to lay down color. And if you want it darker, you keep going over it. You do not start pressing hard, because that's when you get blotchiness. By keeping it light, you're laying down more color and you can get it just as dark. So it just takes a while. Oh, thanks, Peggy. I love this paper. I've had so much fun playing with it. In fact, that's my card class this month, is I use this paper with the Splendid Thoughts bundle. I had to stop and think. Splendid Thoughts bundle. Okay. And there's still time to register for it, so you're not out of luck. You can still join us and get some of this paper and a card kit to play with. And we'll make some gorgeous cards. If you've been card making for a while, the advanced class this month, we're making, I got to put this on this way, and I kind of did it wrong. The advanced class this month, I always do a fancy fold. Sometimes it's 2 fancy folds, but this month I'm doing a fancy fold and a technique. So, you know, I try to teach my advanced people some fun things, and I've got this. I'm going to show you how to fix that. All right, so I'm going to have this dragonfly, and you've got to watch your sides come down, and I'm going to bend up my wings so it has some motion. But see how that, you can see that dimensional? Just take your pokey tool and push it back, and then push down, and keep doing it till it goes back and stays back. There, and see, then you can't see it now. You might have to redo it. So there's card 3. So we have card 1 card 2 and card 3, all from sketches. So I just wanted to show you how you can take a sketch and make different cards. Thanks, Sharon. And have some fun playing and making, I mean, you wouldn't, this is all this, oh, sorry. This is all the same paper, but you wouldn't know it. Thanks, Carol. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got some tips. Give me a minute and I'm going to switch back to my face view. All right. There we go. And I'll get this out of the way. And I hope you liked this idea today. I decided to try something a little different so that you could hopefully see that, thanks, Trudy, using sketches are a great way, especially, oh my gosh, there are so many times that I am, what do they call it? In a creative slump. I can't think of anything, nothing looks good. I will pull out a sketch and I will use that sketch to create a card. Sometimes I pull out the catalog and create the card straight from the catalog. So there's a lot of ways you can do things to help you out if you're in that creative slump. And of course, you can always come and check out my videos and then you make some of mine. I would love to see some of your ideas. Don't have to use the same paper, but the layout's there. And I do have my sketches on my computer as a PDF. It doesn't have the measurements, but I can give you the sketch and you can modify and adjust the measurements as you feel fit. I mean, if you want this one with no sentiment and you have a larger image, just make this one larger and these two pieces can stay the same. So, I mean, just pull your stuff out and play. That's the fun of it. All right, I'm going to get ready and go because I'm in the middle of doing laundry and I want to finish that up so that I can play. I have some cards I want to make and have some fun, but I have to clean up here first because my suggestion is use your ink pad. This to me is too harsh. And do the brick. You want a little bit. Let me see. Let me grab a piece of paper and I'll show you what I mean. Give me a minute. I've got paper back here that I can grab a piece. It doesn't have to be big. All right, let me emboss this real quick. And then I'll pull over my pad. And you can see what I mean. There's that. Now, where's my real red? Oh, not up there. All right, my real red must be downstairs because I don't see it. Let me switch back so I can show you. Kim, I've tried that and it gets, my hand is too heavy. I will tell you that much for everything else. But so you just have to play and find out what works for you. Oh, wrong one. There it is. All right, I'm going to flip this over so you can see it. All right, so there's my embossed piece. I'm going to use Cajun Craze because you'll still be able to see it. And like I said, you want to use the edge. Now, you don't want to use this edge because it's too far away from the side. So you use this edge and look. Well, this one even looks dark too, but this one looks better than the other. This pad is really juicy. So, I mean, just kind of play with it. This would have, I think, looked better than the other. That red just, I don't know, it just didn't look right. But anyway, that's it. All right, let me remove the pin. Spotlight, get this out of the way and I'll sit down. Okay, ladies, I will be back. It didn't switch. Oh, poo, it was showing up on mine. Did it ever switch or did you guys still see me? Because I'll do it again. Let me pull this back over. I will try this again and I'll just use the back. Okay, here. Now do you see me or see the paper? This one will be a little different because the raised part is the back side. This one has the bricks raised. This one has the grout raised. Let me know if you can see my desktop. Okay, so you can see the desktop. Okay, so here's what you do. Use the edge that's closest or the end that's closest to the edge. This one, it's too far away and you won't get, it won't work right. You'll have a mess. So what you're going to do is you're going to lightly pull it across. This pad is really juicy. I don't use Cajun Craze. See that there, I did that really light. All right. And that way it's an entirely different look than using the Stampin' Spot because it's a linen, and I didn't even think of that. It's a linen pad, whereas this is a foam pad. But there you go. That's what it looks like if you do the other side. And this is, like I said, a really juicy pad. Really juicy. I don't use Cajun Craze much. I've used it more with this this paper than anything else. All right, I'm going to remove the spotlight here. Spotlight me. Okay. All right. There. All right. Thanks for coming in, guys. I hope you'll join me next week. Not certain what I'm going to do. Sometimes I run across an idea and that's what I go with. Well, that's interesting, Carol. I never thought of that. Yeah, I guess it could. Maybe it's the color. Maybe I should have used the Cajun Craze instead of the real red. Who knows? All right. It's one of those things you play with. You don't like it? It's a piece of paper. Use it for layering. You know, flip it over and use it for layering because you can always use the back side of this on another card. All right, ladies, thanks for coming in. I appreciate it so much. I love all your comments. I love the hearts and the thumbs up. And if you feel free to share this so that other people will find us and we'll have some fun. See you next Saturday, 10:30 a.m. Like I said, don't know what I'll do. Lots of times I find things on the internet and I go, ooh, I want to do that. So that's what I do. All right, guys, have a great weekend. Bye. Oh, you're welcome, Carol.